Whoops. What's going on, YouTube guys and girls and whoever is watching? So I've been doing a lot of videos on stocks. Really, I think the key thing that I'm going to start doing, well, I've already been doing, but I'm going to start doing more heavily, is trading options on a lot of these ideas. I'm going to continue to come on, say, I'm not going to do it today, like right now, but maybe tonight I'll make a video, or tomorrow morning I'll make a video on my key levels for the morning and my ideas. And pretty much the plan for me is going to be like buying options that are worth no less than like $300. They, expire, say, 5 to 10 days from when I buy them. And my goal will be to make a minimum of $100 a day, up to, obviously, as far as it wants to take me based off of my analysis. I'm going to try to find my levels, whether it's going to be a resistance level that I'm going to buy a put at, or it's going to be a call or a support level that I believe that is going to hold as support based off of previous day's price action. So I'm on a cash account right now. So when I'm buying shares, which is what I was doing, a lot of just buying shares mainly, and say I buy those shares, say today was open and I bought, say 300 shares of blah, 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 and, everything's going well, I'm up 50, 60, 70 bucks, whatever, and I sell them. Well, whether I wait tomorrow to sell or 2 days from now to sell, or I sell them today, once I sell, it has to settle my cash, which I'm sure if you guys have done cash accounts, you understand this. This is new to me in the last couple weeks. I have to wait 2 to 3 trading days or whatever for my money to come back. So whatever trade I made, if I didn't make any money, now I have to wait 2 to 3 days. Or if I do make like 70, 80 bucks, I have to wait 2 to 3 days. Well, with options, I've noticed if I bought that option that day, I sold it at the end of the day, say for $100 or $150 profit, whatever it is, either the next day I'm getting, actually most recently, the next day I'm getting that cash back. So to me, I can do more trades with that. And even if I end up having a losing trade or something, depending on how much cash you have in your account, if you have $3,000 or $4,000 or whatever it is, and you're doing a $300 option, you actually can break that amount up into multiple options or multiple trades throughout the week. So you don't have to put it all on one trade and then wait till the next day. You could buy one option on this one, make that $100. And, even if that settlement period takes longer than a day, now you have the rest of your cash. Where like shares, you could do it like that, but honestly, to put $300 on shares, you're not going to make as much money. Anyway, so that's kind of my idea right now, and most of my stop losses will be like within $40 to $50 of risk. So if I am wrong, or if something happens where the option just, isn't going in my favor, even if I'm at the same level and it's kind of just starting to bleed out on the whatever, the price of it is starting to bleed out because, maybe people in the market aren't agreeing or however it works, then I'll be stopped out. So anyway, that was a little ramble. Hopefully you guys are, whether you guys like that idea or not, that's what I'm doing. But this is just going to be my thought, and I'm going to try my hardest to see if I can maybe pull in, minimum, 4, maximum, well, obviously max can be whatever, but I'm going to try to pull in like $400 to $600 per week doing this if all goes well. So that's my goals. This is my new goal. So we'll see how this plays out. Anyway, this video is supposed to be about cryptocurrency. I went on a little tangent there, but crypto also has some like pretty good, volatility in the sense where, you could buy a small crypto and buy just the shares, or you could do it on leverage, of course, too. And, you can make a decent amount of money because they'll run, some of them run like, $5 to $10 in a day at some points. So anyway, enough with the rambling. we're going to start with Bitcoin and see what's going on with Bitcoin here. Let me show you my idea right now. So if you guys have been watching my Bitcoin videos for a while, I've talked about the same pattern. Like, it's kind of strange whether or not it ends up being a rising broadening wedge, which is what I'm kind of viewing it as, with like this center support here, that it's kind of like almost like two patterns in one, where like this was a rising channel of some sort, or a rising broadening wedge, and then the lower section was part of the rising broadening wedge, and it's just trading within this, but it's also using that center line as resistance. Now, normally I don't draw patterns out like this, but this is just working out, to the damn T. So when we were up here, we lost it, we came down, we bounced here, this is a support over here, and then the most recent support was right here. I had these two drawn in here off these wicks, and we did bounce off of this support perfectly. At first, when we were creating, when we were hovering around here within the first 3 days, I was starting to potentially look at this, 3-4 days, look at this as potentially starting to curl to the upside, and maybe it was coming back up to retest this. However, after I started seeing so much more sideways action, the stock market started kind of, acting pretty crappy as well, but Bitcoin was holding up. The DXY was starting to pump. There's many things that were going on, as well as, I was like, maybe I need to look at this because we cannot clear this resistance of this middle support line or previous support line. And, I ended up flipping bearish probably during this day here. The fall, and I was looking for a dump down to 21.8 to 22K. Well, that's where we ended up falling down to this actual support here, 22 whatever. But it was hitting my line perfectly, needless to say. That's what we saw. So looking on a daily, you can see that we did make another fall down. If we flip to a 4-hour here, you can see that pretty much since this drop, we've been, we were going sideways for a bit, almost creating this descending triangle, which is what I have here, and bouncing multiple times off of 22,148. If we flip down to a 3-hour, obviously we can see that since we have broken above 22,400 to ish, we've been pretty much moving to the upside. Now, my overall idea had been we need to close above 22.5. That's going to be our biggest resistance. We did, however, at this point, we fell, we bounced off of that support, and we got a very good pump off of it. However, we still just sold back off. Now, what my idea right here was that we had this descending triangle resistance line, and when we were up in this range, I was making a post saying I'm looking for us to fall back down, back test 22.4 as support, or as low as 22, I called it 344. Well, that to me was based off of, at the time, was this right here as the pattern. And we ended up actually coming almost all the way down to 22,188 with like a giant, spinning top candle here. But we pretty much have just held up. Then we came back, we back tested that same trend line, and we've lifted since. So something that I will be keeping in mind here based off of this candle body, because you guys know I like my candle bodies, is right here, 22,356. So to me, this could be a pretty good resistance or support. So if we see on the hourly or any, at any given point, we see price coming back down to that level, and here you can see we broke below it, we came back, we back tested as resistance, and we started our fall. But I had this support here. That was a good spot to buy, versus if you didn't have that there, you might have been thinking this might have been a short. Well, we ended up bouncing off that perfectly and coming back up and flagging ever since. So if this does decide to come back down, that 22,356 is going to be a pretty good area to watch. However, I'm kind of, I'm on the different side of the camp right now, because I'm actually expecting us to just kind of continue on this slow grind up, or this, slow ascent up, and break this 22.5 and eventually start finding some support on it. As of right now, if we were looking at it for, what do we do for today? You just go off of these candle bodies right here, which is this candle body right here is 22,456, and we're going to want to see candle bodies closing and holding above as support, creating a pattern of some sort to play off of. You can see here that although on that 15-minute candle it looks like we have not had price action above, but you can see on the 1 minute we have. That's just kind of what's going on here. So whether or not you want to chalk it to that or you want to chalk it up to the 22.5, that's up to you. That might make it clearer for you if you are looking for a trade on Bitcoin here to potentially progress. We will want to see some candle bodies closing above 22.5-ish, create some kind of pattern that we can play to the upside here. That's how I'd be doing it. I'm not going to sit here and watch this all day long, though. However, that's what I would normally do during stock market open if I'm in a trade. But you don't really have to do that, like I've always said. It's just what I like to do if I am at work or whatever. So that's where I'm at right now with Bitcoin. But I do think that overall, Bitcoin, although it doesn't look that bullish based off of this nasty fall in, I do think that it might be potentially trying to come back up to at least test this 23.2 again. And then whether or not we end up breaking through that or not, that'll be left to be seen. If we can pump back up here to 22.3, maybe we can get another try at the 24-ish area, 25. Maybe, we can come back to the top of this. I don't think we're going to fall through just yet, but we'll have to see how the stock market turns out on Monday. The DXY is still fighting with this rising wedge idea that I've been having for a while, but the fact that it's taking this long makes me a little bit, thinking like, oh, maybe it's doing something else, but I'm just going to keep it in here because we had the breakdown, we had the attempt to reclaim, we had the breakdown, a back test of it, and now we're kind of on our fall. It might start looking like an inverse head and shoulders, but I think, in my view, if it was going to be an inverse head and shoulders, we would have held the support of 104.6, and we did not. And this 4-hour candle is starting to, actually pick up some momentum to the downside here. So we actually could potentially start to see us break some lows, or maybe it just has to come back down and retest this 104 again. Hard to say right now. I'm just waiting to see, it choose a direction right now. It's just kind of in a choppy sideways range from 105.2 to 104. So if we can break back below 104, then we can start getting a little more clarity of what it's trying to do. XRP, this is one. Where are we at? XRP, this is something, this is pretty interesting to me. I haven't traded XRP or anything in a while. I just started looking at it on a weekly just to see what could potentially be going on. So, this is my speculation, is we have our first initial high, which this data right now isn't showing the high from the $3 level. So whatever on TradingView that I have open, it didn't apparently have XRP trading on it during those times, which might not be the perfect thing for me to draw this long-term view off without having that data from the $3 area. But needless to say, from what I can see right here, we had this high, and obviously this low and this low. And at the low support, it is making some type of symmetrical triangle down at the bottom, where we have not been able to break this uptrending line, which is very good. Even if we've wicked below it, we haven't closed any candle bodies below that, as well as not closing any candle bodies below 32 cents roughly. Yeah, 32 cents. You can see we've had wicks, and then the bodies buy back up on the weekly. Same here, pretty much all the way across. And then on the weekly time frame, another thing would be, I have this marked out as 37 cents for an area. This could be off the daily. Yeah, off the daily. So this was a previous resistance zone from 36.60 to 37. We pretty much popped above that, and ever since, we have not been able to close a daily candle body below. We stopped it right there, 37. We pumped up. We came down. We stopped it just above, which we're kind of fighting with that area right now. So we just want to keep an eye on the 37 area for now, and just make sure that XRP isn't starting to close bodies below. If we were to start doing that, or we do close below, and then we start flipping it to resistance, then we might be having to say that XRP might be coming back down to retest the 32 cents. But for now, I am actually looking at it that it's going to potentially continue to hold here. It's hard to say for now because it doesn't look that bullish here, but based off of, you know, previous price action not closing below, it's easier to make a case that we're not going to do that, even if we wick down, like I said. So anything you buy maybe with between 35 and 37 could be pretty decent as long as we don't close below that. But on the weekly, like I said, we could be creating some type of bottoming pattern here. And then if we did start to lose 32 and close below that, then we might have to make a case that XRP is going to come down back to these lows and retest some of the 17 to 20 cent area, which maybe you would be excited about because you want XRP to, you know, continue down to buy lower. So that's still in the cards, but if we are going to break to the upside here, what we need to see, to start, we have to see a daily close above 41 cents, and we need to see a couple daily candles close above 39 cents. Those are the two key resistances. If you're playing it's kind of a slow crypto, but if you're looking at this pattern that I have drawn in here, we would want to see a pump incoming that could potentially bring XRP up to, I think it's 39 cents anyway. Yeah, 39 cents. So you want to start poking above the 39 cents. XRP does, when it does break out, it likes to do this for a very long time. That's how I've noticed anyway. So it's not like it just pops up and it just breaks out and goes absolutely berserk. No, it just does this once it pops up, and then it does this for the next goddamn month. You know what I mean? So it finds a new support, and then it sits on it for a while, and then it finds a new support, and then it sits on it for a while until it starts breaking out of like areas that don't have key resistances. Then you can start seeing, you know, XRP make bigger moves like this, which right here was about that 65 cents. That the break of the 65 cent, 66 cent area really sent XRP flying. So that's something to continue to, you know, think about. And yeah, even right here, well, actually this was when we back tested 51 cents. We had a nice pump, a small little consolidation, then a rip. Like, this was pretty good price action before it ended up eventually falling back down. AVAX, this thing has seen, you know, better days, but I have kind of like this support idea here and this longer term idea. If you look on the weekly, this is how I've kind of drawn it. Not the prettiest, but just kind of going off of, usually I use the wicks, which you could use, but for some reason I don't know why I actually went off of like more of the bodies in this case. So you can see we couldn't close any bodies above this 120. We made lower highs. We broke down from the support, which was roughly in this range right here, which could be something to, you know, potentially look at if we do end up popping back up and making a bigger move here in the coming months. But this support down here there wasn't much price action, but there was some price action here from 968 to about 1568. Then we popped up and continued on our run. Prior to that, we did chop in here between 21 and off candle bodies 37. So since we popped up here, we hit about 28, made this following wedge that broke out, and now we're kind of, in my opinion, flagging here. And, you know, we're fighting with the bulls and the bears, but personally, I think we are making some kind of, you know, bullish. We have this bullish move, and then we have the consolidation. And a lot of bears are going to say, well, it's making a lower high. Well, I don't believe that that's the case, but that's just me. As of right now, though, I mean, this most recent weekly candle doesn't look as good here, but I do believe that this could end up working out. This could end up playing out to be a pretty good level. We're just kind of back testing some previous areas. And a lot like XRP with the weekly candles, the weekly candle bodies have not closed below the 1568, and then we ended up doing so. I mean, you could also chalk it up to 1660 because you had two weekly candles that closed pretty much flat right here at 1660. So I guess if you're trying to be bullish on this, you'd want to see us reclaim some of that 1660 to 1670 area as support. And right now, if we look down on a daily, we're kind of just starting to close below that, but we still are holding the 1568, so that might be something to consider as a buy zone down here with some stop losses somewhere below 15, just in case this is very wrong and it does decide to fall. 1472 is like that last key support right there, so you could start maybe stop lossing it there below this low wick, and you kind of know if it drops below 1453, most likely it's just going to continue down, and there's no point to continue holding this in hopes that it's going to go to the upside. We did put in a pretty like disgusting double top here, which not that pretty, but you know, that doesn't have to completely crash the trend. It can just show you that there's very key resistance in this range. So maybe it's just trying to find some key support here for the buyers to step in again, and I believe it's going to happen here. So whether or not we can break out and make it through the 19 now, or if we end up going all the way to $20, but eventually we'll have to fight this downtrending resistance, which will be up towards $26, depending on when we hit it, 25, 26. So that's my idea would be, or that would be my trade really, would be, you know, buying it at 1550s, 1560s, and like putting a stop somewhere down here below this box and 1450s, and then risk it up to, you know, you could take your money at $20, you could take your money at 25, depending on how it reacts at this downtrending resistance. Well, that's the key, is like you have to see, is it just going to come up here again and reject hard, and then this time it breaks? You don't want to be in that if that's the case. So if you're buying here, you got to have your out potentially here, and then if you wait and you see it does break and starts consolidating, then you can play that breakout here and then play it up to this point and do the same thing over and over. Unless you're a long-term investor, then obviously, you know, you're just going to hold no matter what. Unless maybe if you break this, maybe you won't, unless you were buying down here at the $10. But needless to say, that's my thought on AVAX right now. If there's any cryptos that you guys want me to take a look at, let me know. You know, there's a lot of stuff here. This is EGLD. This was like one of my favorites to look for. So we have a low of 39, a high of 71, and we just chopped around. Originally, this is how I've drawn it. You can see I had this rising wedge, which I was talking about at one point. Then we had a falling wedge. I was looking for a break up. Then we got rejected on the falling wedge again, rising wedge, broke back down, created a bear flag, and then we fell to a new low of 32. And since then, we've been grinding up. We've been reclaiming this support, but we still keep getting rejected on this downtrending resistance. So I like this 40-50 area for a long. This is a nice spot to sit and patiently wait for. Maybe put some dip buys there. And that seems to be where we're bouncing. And then our key resistance is up at 53 to $52, depending on how long it takes for us to get there. If we can break through that, I'll be looking for $70. And that could happen, you know, maybe in the next 3-4 months. Hard to say for sure how long anything's going to take. And if we were to lose this $40 to $38, I'll call it at 38. You don't want to lose 38 because then you're going to be saying like, hey, this is not going to be working out how we were all anticipating. So you can see how this 40-50 was significant. Candle bodies all closing below. Then we break up, then we flip it to support. So that's kind of what we've done so far. So don't let yourself lose that 40-50 and start closing dailies below. Then you're going to have to say, all right, this is not going to be working out. And at that point, Bitcoin's probably breaking, 20K or something anyway. Let's see. BCH. Can go over BCH. I have not looked at this chart in a very, very long time. Last time I was making videos on BCH was right here. And I was looking for 1,500 and we got to 1,650. So I sold most of mine at 1,500 and around like 1,200. So this was a very, very nice trade. I think we pretty much went over it every other day here on this channel for a while. So I have not looked at it in a while. Basically, you have a downtrend break, which if you were to, that's just me looking at it without drawing trend lines, but boom, downtrend break sideways. I don't really know. I don't do enough analysis to know what that means in the long run, if it's bullish or bearish, but it's pretty clear to see that we have some kind of flag of some sort, whether you go off of the candle bodies or the wicks. If you go off of the wicks, then an easy momentum trade is a break above 163. If you're going off the bodies and you want a little earlier entry, you want to see candle bodies closing above 144 area. It's actually, to be exact, it's hold on a second. To be exact on the price, it is, let me move this box a little bit down if I can get a hold of it. Boom. So that's your resistance that you want to see candle bodies close above and maybe start getting, that's 140. So yeah, so you can see that we have wicks that come up, so you can see this thing could run to 150 and then you're like, oh my God, it's running, but then it ends up just coming back down and closing below. So that'll be the key thing for BCH for potentially a nice trade. And if it does continue down here and it comes all the way back down to the support, I moved the box, so I have to double check that support off the daily. Well, your key support is 97. If we broke below and closed below 96.60s, this thing is going to be continuing its leg down. On a short-term trade basis here, though, unless we're starting this breakdown right now, this is what we're looking at. I think it's 122.90. So you can see that off the daily, we had the daily candle close below, which might have, anticipated some people to start shorting. Then we ended up just breaking right back up. So that's kind of what you have to keep in mind there if you are looking for that. Otherwise, you could put it right here and say that that's, yeah, I would say that just so you don't get screwed up on getting faked out of any short positions. And then, if we were going to go off of trend lines, you could almost make a case that where we're at right now is roughly getting support on that. And maybe we're building something, whether it's a rising channel of some sort. But, you got something rising, broadening wedge, something similar to Bitcoin, I guess, where you have your support here between this 123 and this 121. And then you have your biggest key resistance up at that 166. But if you were to break above and close and start flipping this into support, then you could be actually looking at a potential bigger move than anticipated. So that'll be something to keep in mind here if you're playing BCH. What else do we have? Maker. Didn't I just see I think I just saw a notification from Uphold saying that Maker was on a move. So let's take a look. 919. Maker is making some moves. Oh, so you have like this. Wow, look at this, guys. So this is like double bottom in a sense here. You get that 434 low and the 484 low, which we're up at 900s now. What are we working on coming up to right now? So you could make I'm gonna go off of bodies. Let's check out the bodies. What do we get? Well, we have, this was support until it, oh yeah, so this was your support right here. Nah, we'll go off of this right there. 914, that was a key support. Let's just double check that. That works. Yeah, roughly 914-ish. And then the next support down was 738. And then the next resistance up is 1151. So if you look at what we're doing, we are right now, basically, we're flagging underneath the resistance of that 915. So if we can actually start poking our heads above and flipping this back into support, then it looks like we're going to have an easy ride up to this 1151. I didn't put my support down below yet. Hold on a second. What caused the dump was right there. Closed below that. We started on the run down. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to do this right here. Probably, I think we said 738, right? Yeah, 738 is your key support on the downside. So if this does not make it above, which it's working on it right now, right? This is a daily candle, but we're just having all these wicks. If we look down to a 1 minute, let's see, this is starting to poke its head above. So how do you play this? If you were like just kind of, messing around with this right now, depending on the volume, we could see some decent moves coming in on it. But it looks kind of weird with those like flat candles. You get that, oh wow, it's already at 950. This thing's just pumping. So you're kind of away from that 915 support. Is this thing just trying to make a run all the way to 1151? I guess it's possible. I would rather be waiting, not playing any of this, even if it comes all the way up here. It is what it is, gets rejected. You want to see it come back down and retest that 914 and actually hold it as support. We haven't done that yet. Like, look, pump up, couldn't hold it as support, fall down. Find support at 850. Come up, reject again, 950. I guess that's what traders are playing right now, is this 950. So I guess that could be a secondary trade here to play to 1150. I guess I can't ignore that. That could be your support right there. Is it 950? Well, roughly 938-ish as well. So you kind of have a level between 938 and 915. I mean, it's just, look at those weird candles. What the hell? I'd probably want to see a break back down to 938 at least. See if we can hold that as support. Then you could make a trade up to 1151. If we start losing 938 and flipping it back to resistance, 914 is my key area that I'd like to see hold. To me, this is more important, but for a shorter term trade, it's possible that if the buyers are going to remain strong, that they're probably going to they're going to take this opportunity to buy this. So that's where we're at with Maker, if anyone's in on that. 1151 is definitely the key resistance to potentially make a sell on. It has wicked up here to like 1220 and 1205, but the main key area to see price actually make support on top of would be that 1151. Until then, it's a sell. I think that's it. I don't want to do any more right now. I'm kind of getting bored. But all right, guys, well, hopefully you guys appreciated this video. I know it's a very long video. If you got some other cryptos you want me to look at, I can do just a video on one crypto at a time, however you guys want me to. If you have any questions or comments on anything that I said, let me know your views. If you think I'm wrong, if you think the crypto market's going to crash, if it's going to pump, whatever. That's where I'm at, though, with everything. Have a good day.